Hello and welcome back to the Faux world. This is R.A. Casper. And I've got quite a lot done on the pyramid, as you can tell. I just have this area here to fill in on the exterior. The rest of it is all done. And in addition, I had some chests up here and workbench and a furnace. I decided to put that down into the chamber underground. I put furnace and the workbench here. I broke down the chest and put all the stuff down here. So I wanted sort of a cleaner look in the main chamber up here. And in addition, I think what I'm going to do is just block this off. So I don't really need that anymore now that I have the staircase going down to the chamber from here. Another thing I did was I fed a iron ingot into the beacon, and now it gives me speed when I'm close to the beacon. So I just move a little bit faster. Don't really need to do that, but I figured why not? I have a beacon, so let's use some of the special features. And I also made an entrance over here to the room with the zombie spawner. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to block off this little rough staircase, because I don't really need this anymore. I want to have sort of a uniform look to the floor. And I'm going to do some construction down there later to turn that zombie spawner into some kind of XP factory. So now the floor is all done. I've got sandstone everywhere, a jack-o'-lantern every 5 blocks. I have a ground level entrance at each cardinal point in the pyramid. And they're all blocked off with a gate, so the monsters cannot get in that way, but it's easy to get out. Like so. Oops. It is kind of glitchy on the server sometimes, so you have to time it right. Ooh, well. Seems there was a creeper in back of me. Seems there's a lot of mobs out here. Alright. Who's shooting at me? Is it you? So I have power 2 and punch on my bow. Punch, I think, is a knockback. May as well get that XP. Well, time to lay down some more half slabs. Today's topic, as I'm working, It occurred to me this has sort of turned into a sort of a mini podcast with me just talking about stuff as I'm building, but it's only because this is kind of a long, tedious build, and I'd like to make a video about something. Am I lagging? I didn't hear the... Yep, there we go. Let's see, the topic is going to be sort of a response, or my own opinion, to a video that was put out by a YouTuber named ZiggyD, who I watch for his Path of Exile content. He made a video about his opinions about softcore versus hardcore in gaming. And he said that he typically has played about half of his time in each of those leagues, in the softcore mode or hardcore mode. Now, softcore isn't really called that. It's just called... It used to be called default in Path of Exile, but now it's called standard, I think. They changed the name of it. So you have standard and then you have hardcore. In the standard mode, when your character dies, you respawn back in town. And at the higher difficulties, there's an experience penalty. But in the first difficulty level, there's no penalty other than you respawn in town and not close to where you died. Actually, I think you do have the option of respawning at the beginning of the area in which you died in. So that is even more convenient now. But in hardcore, you have one life, and when your character dies, you do not respawn at all. Actually, in Path of Exile, you do. You leave the hardcore league and you are moved into the standard league. And I used to, back when I played Diablo 2, I used to play hardcore, but I haven't been doing that in Path of Exile. Oops. By the way, in this game, in Minecraft, when you die, you drop everything that you're carrying, including your inventory, on the ground, and then you respawn back at your original spawn point or next to the last bed that you slept in. And there is a hardcore mode in Minecraft which I haven't used because, let's see, what it does is it's set permanently to the hard mode, plus there's only one life. When your character dies, then you're done. I actually tried it just to see what would happen, and it actually, the hardcore mode gave me an option to respawn, and I clicked it and the game crashed. So I don't know if that was supposed to be there or not, but yeah, the thing about hardcore is I was thinking about doing my next season of no-kill survival in hardcore mode, but unfortunately you can't type commands, also known as, they're called cheats in Minecraft, but I call them commands because they just let you change the game rules slightly. And that's what the only thing I use them for. But you can't type those in hardcore. You just have to play in, permanently in hard mode, and you get one life. So I think what I'm going to do instead is just play a regular game, set to hard, use my commands, and then stop playing after I die once, or maybe have some kind of self-imposed penalty if I do respawn. Then I have to give something up. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but there will be a new season of No Kill Survival coming. Let's see. In Diablo 2, first game that I really got seriously involved with online, there was a hardcore and softcore mode. In Diablo 2, when you die in softcore, you lose everything that you're using. In other words, your armor and weapons. But you keep everything in your inventory. And you respawn back in the nearest town. And that game also has an experience penalty at the higher levels. Higher difficulty levels. But in hardcore you lose everything. Except I think you have the option of, if you're in a party, you can give people permission to loot your corpse. And if they do that, they can get back your armor and weapons, but not things that were in your inventory. But basically, hardcore means one life, softcore means you can start over whenever you want, and you can even use that to game the system. Like in Path of Exile, you know, if you're facing a difficult boss like the Val Oversoul for the first time, you can you know, put up a town portal before you go in there, and then, you know, damage them a little bit, die, respawn in town, run back through the portal, attack them a little bit more, die, run back through the portal, etc. And use, like, you can use 20 lives if you have to kill the boss, to kill that monster. But I'm not hearing placing the blocks here. Yep, there we go. That was weird. But anyway, my opinion. In Path of Exile, I have 99% of the time I play in the normal, also known as, you know, in the softcore league. I don't do hardcore. And in Diablo 2, I used to play hardcore all the time, basically because I had a lot of experience in the game. I knew pretty much everything that could happen. I knew how to protect myself and certain things to avoid, like a boss that uses the corpse explosion skill, or if you run into two enchanted boss packs, you know, like one with that did extra damage and one that had extra fast. That was especially dangerous in Act 5 in the ice caves when you find those Yeti creatures. That is extremely dangerous situation. You can get chewed up no matter how good your character is. So those are just certain situations that you know to avoid. So I was able to play hardcore also because I was part of a group called the Amazon Basin, and they had an active hardcore group of people that played in hardcore. So there was usually somebody in the game. There was usually a game up, and you could find someone to party with. But at some point, I decided to give up hardcore just because at the time, like when I started doing that, I didn't have a job. And I had a lot of free time to spend on it. I could spend, 6-8 hours a day in the game if I wanted to. But these days, I just find that I didn't have the time to spend on hardcore, because if you die, you basically have to start over from scratch. And it is kind of a pain getting back to where you were. Especially if you have a certain build that you do and you always build it the same way. You know, you have to go through the exact same content over and over and over again. And it just got kind of repetitive and boring to me. And I still played kind of like, I still had the skills for hardcore. You know, I knew things to avoid. I knew how to, know the mechanics of the game so that you can avoid dying. And I built my characters kind of life heavy, not as glass cannons. But I just didn't want to. I didn't really. I guess some people get sort of a thrill or a rush of playing hardcore because of the risk of dying. But I felt like if I died, it wasn't. I don't know. Maybe this sounds kind of egotistical, but if I died in Diablo 2, it wasn't because of lack of skill or planning. It was because I wasn't paying attention. And if you're tired and you slip up and something happens and you die, then boom, that's like 3 or 4 months worth of playtime that you have to repeat to get back to where you were. I just figured I didn't want to spend that time in hardcore re-rolling the same character over and over again. So at some point I just switched to softcore. And that's what I've been playing in Path of Exile because, I have a job plus other responsibilities, and I play other games plus two YouTube channels. So I don't really have the time that I can sink into it. I suppose if I wanted to do it if I was a streamer and wanted to get people interested in what I was doing, maybe I'd do hardcore. But it just doesn't interest me. And one thing ZiggyD said in his video, whoops, did I just drop a whole stack of half slabs? That's okay, I have more. One thing ZiggyD said was that hardcore people can get kind of an elitist attitude, and I agree with that. I kind of experienced that back in the Diablo days. Diablo 2. I never really played Diablo 3. And I don't know, I may have had that attitude for a while too, because if you're able to survive and you put that much work into it, you do feel a sense of pride in your own accomplishments and also in the group of people that you play with, which can be kind of intimidating, I guess, to people who don't play hardcore. But I feel like I've let that go. I don't really feel that anymore. And I kind of dismiss it if I hear it from somebody else. So I'm over it. Not everybody is, though. I recognize that. So that's pretty much my opinion on hardcore versus softcore. The difference is, from my point of view, it's just the time commitment. And I don't really get that rush, from almost dying in some situation which you can't control. That's another thing. Back in Diablo 2, I was playing, a lot of the times I played on a dial-up connection, and the connection could be bad, or the servers could be laggy, or there's a lot of things outside of your control that can lead to a hardcore character dying. I felt like if I did die, I wanted it to be because of a mistake I made. Something that I could learn from, and not just some weird technical glitch, which is going to cost me months worth of replaying to get back to the same point. You know what? I'm going to no. Yeah, I want those half slabs I dropped. I might be able to finish this with what I have on me. Oh great, there's a creeper. By the door. 3 shots. He's a tough one. Okay, where were those half slabs? Where was I? There they are. Step on it, pause, and walk. That's how you get through those. Anybody following me? No? Okay. I've thought about doing some Path of Exile playthroughs on this channel, but because I'm a variant gamer, I wanted to do something to make it interesting. You know, I can't do it the normal way, of course. I have to do it in a strange way, like my no-kill survival series, where I'm play Minecraft without killing anything. So I was thinking of either playing a character which focused completely on one statistic, like a dexterity character who had no intelligence or strength, or maybe all intelligence character who didn't put any points into strength or dexterity or something like that. A character who was like all about one specific feature or ability, which was maximized and everything else is minimized. Could do something like that. Or it might be interesting to do the entire game from a zoomed in perspective. Because you can, boom, I think I just finished actually. Let's go to the top of the pyramid. In Path of Exile, you can zoom in or out using the scroll wheel on your mouse. I was thinking of playing zoomed in, which would give me a limited field of view. But it would, yep, everything is filled in. Awesome, I am done with the pyramid. Yeah, zoomed in mode in Path of Exile. It would give me a limited field of view, but it would give the viewers a better view of the character and what they're doing and all the effects of the skills that I'm using. So it would probably be a melee character. Let me look at it from inside just to be absolutely sure everything's filled in. Oh, and we've got a sunrise. Yeah, let's look at it. Look at it from one of the corners. Yep, all done. It's interesting when you look at the half slabs in the distance. I don't know if you can see that. There's sort of a, what do they call that? That pattern, the moire pattern, M-O-I-R-E. Didn't really expect that. You can see through the half slabs, but the chambers are still dark, except where the... It's interesting, the beacon is lighting up the Queen's Chamber and part of the top of the gallery there. So, very good. Pyramid's done. So I think I'll eat a potato and wish you farewell. I think in my next video I'll just do sort of a tour of the pyramid. And by the way, there will be a link in the About section to ZiggyD's hardcore versus softcore video. Okay, see you guys next time.